Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. It's Erica here again today. I know it's been a minute since we've uploaded anything. Basically, everything is still shut down. All the studio spaces and everything are still shut down due to COVID-19, as I mentioned last episode. So since then, we've been experimenting with ways that we can record and upload in a way where the quality still isn't absolutely horrible, and still get podcasts out to you. Obviously this time of year we would have been posting the regular sort of pre-season chat that we have with Sharon and Rob, and we would be having these kinds of discussions about what we're going to get into. But May game was canceled. It looks like June game is canceled, so we're still not into game. We don't have any event memories for you. We don't have any of the sort of normal scheduling that we normally would. So yeah, we've come up with some ideas of things to record in the meantime. Unfortunately, Tony is unable to join us as of right now. We still don't have a decent setup for Tony, but we are working on it. We are kind of, trying to figure out ways to amend that so that he can kind of get in on these discussions. But we do have some new things coming up for you. For this episode, we have my friend Mike Hammond. He was kind and patient enough to kind of step in and be my test subject for an episode. Working with him, sort of getting this episode figured out, has helped me iron out a lot of the details that I'm going to need to figure out to record with other people from home. So thank you, Mike, so much for that. This is also just a really great discussion with him. He has a lot of really great stuff to say, so just, hang around for that. Mike is a wealth of information. But yeah, I think that's it. Enjoy this episode. We will see you next week with a new series that we're starting. And I'll have more information on that on the Facebook page. We should have the first episode of that out next week. But in the meantime, enjoy this one, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Welcome to Holdfast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Holdfast, the LARP podcast. It is your host, Erica, here today. I'm with my friend Mike Hammond, local comedian, actor, writer. I'll let him introduce himself, of course. Mike, if you want to kind of give us a little background on who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name is Mike Hammond. I am a comedian, a writer, and an improviser. And I do a lot of work in theater and some work in film.
Yeah, and Mike has literally been around for forever. When I was a teenager doing improv, Mike was doing workshops and judging improv and all that kind of stuff. So I think you have 15 years experience in all this probably more.
18
years, yeah. So Mike knows
more than half my life, which is weird.
Mike knows his stuff. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Mike, you're not a LARPer per se, but you do have experience with role-play games, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, I play D&D on the regular. During quarantine, we have 3 separate games going, plus a game of Edge of Empire, which is the Star Wars RPG.
Cool. What are your characters like? What kind of characters have you do you play?
I played a dragon called Toby Not Dragon. He taught himself to read common, but he could only read out loud.
Oh.
So he ended up accidentally getting forged into a pact with a demon.
Oh,
so I was playing
Toby
a warlock.
Not Dragon.
Currently I'm playing a character called Percy. He is a paladin who is just so damn good.
like he's true, good, or do you mean
true good? He's the most good. He's he's a pacifist.
Oh, okay, a paladin pacifist. I love that.
Yeah, so he tries to run around people and tie them up with rope and grapple them instead of fighting them.
Your party must love that.
My party is a bunch of true neutral beings. So it's chaos because I'm fighting with them to stop releasing demons into the wild.
That sounds awesome.
Because we've just become pirate kings, you see. That's the best thing about RPGs and roleplay and stuff like that. Literally anything's on the table, and that is so cool.
Oh, for sure. Literally in LARP, the only limits you have is what your body can physically do. And even then, you might be able to skirt around the rules a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta jerry-rig something.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I have a ton of questions for you today. I'm super excited to finally have you on here. I literally asked you to do this like a year ago, and it took a pandemic to finally make it happen. So I'm super stoked you're here. I'm dying to ask for your advice on a few things. Let's just
before we start, can we just say thank you, COVID?
Oh, yeah. COVID, thank you for finally making this collab happen.
You can edit that part out.
Oh my gosh, no, that's fine. Literally my schedule, I've been so much better at like time management and scheduling because I literally can't leave the house to ignore it. So I'm just a way better person because of this. All right, Mike, so first I want to dive into character creation and development a little bit. So what are some rules around creating a character sort of from scratch? Because I know you do a lot of writing and you write characters and you create a lot of characters in improv. So if I'm a new player and I'm creating a character, what are some rules and guidelines I can kind of follow to create one that's a little more three-dimensional and not so flat?
When I create characters, especially when I'm doing it in improv, because improv is literally just, I have to create it there and then.
Right.
I kind of figure out, your character has to have a goal. They have to have a goal. If they don't have a goal, they're not doing anything.
Right.
And if your goal is like something materialistic, like, oh, I want a lot of money, like that's kind of a superficial goal. Like, what happens when you get all that money? What's your goal after that? Is your goal just to accumulate all the wealth? That's you might find fulfillment in that, but personally, I would find that super boring to play.
Right.
If you're just playing, because even if you look at Mr. Burns is a great example. He is so wealthy, he's so greedy, he wants all the money. But what does he actually want? He wants his lost teddy bear Bobo.
Man.
So. Yeah, you can learn everything from character development from The Simpsons.
That's so true.
Yeah, and just like watch TV. That's a huge thing in characters. Like, just watch TV. Look at what choices they're making. But when you first start out, what I do is I establish a goal. If I kind of have an idea of who I'm playing, or if I'm starting with absolutely nothing, I take a walk. I walk around, and you can do this even at home in your own bedroom. Walk on the bed if you need to. What you do is you make choices. So I'm going to walk fast, or I'm going to walk slow. Or you can do it from a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to walk at a 2. I'm going to walk at an 8 speed. Figure out how that feels, how that works, and then stop. And then, okay, how do I walk heavy stepped or light footed? So again, scale 1 to 10. At 2, I start very light on my feet. 10, very heavy, so I start stomping around. I move with a very significant weight to my movement. And then I start putting those things together. Okay, fast and heavy stepped. Slow and light-footed. How does this feel? And then I just kind of get a character kind of like who walks like this. And when I'm walking around, I kind of think of, age. What are their parents like? What was their childhood like? And that's the way you can do it physically. You can just physically create a character. And then associate a voice with that character, and then associate goals with that character.
Wow, yeah, that's super interesting. I've never really thought about like the physical actions of a character before, or even just like walking around and how they're gonna like interact with certain things. But it does, like, some of my best characters, like I have a character who skips, for example. I never really thought about how like that's such like an important character trait for her, and it's something so physical that I've like never really put a lot of thought into.
Well, and those are the ones that the people remember, because the very first thing you're going to notice about anything about a character is what they look like, what they're doing. The first impression of any character is not what they sound like, but what they look like and what they do. So to get the most out of your characters, and it doesn't have to be this big flail. It doesn't have to be this big kind of energy. It could be something as simple as they always have their hands folded. It could be something as like they give little slight bows when they appreciate something. It doesn't have, but these little physical things, that's where the fun stuff is. Words are a luxury. If I had it my way, I would do everything in silence, and everything would be done with body language.
Oh, wow. That sounds like hell. So yeah, all these physical things, that's a really good point. How about
you can also do it vocally.
Sorry?
You can also do it vocally.
True.
So another thing is choose a body part, associate a noise with that body part. So like if I have, I choose my fingers, I close my eyes, and I think, okay, my fingers, what noise do my fingers make? So my fingers go like, ah, ah, ah. And so then from there I go from like a, like I have a noise and I turn into a word. It's like, no, 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 no. And then that turns into a fresh, a catchphrase, like, oh please no, oh please no, oh god, oh please no, oh god. And now I have a phrase for my character. So now I already have this whiny character, like, oh goodness me, oh everything's the worst, oh Belrock killed my father and married my mother.
So I guess what you're saying is, like in an improv sense, like if you're a LARPer, and maybe you're new to game, or you're just showing up in the moment, or you've been asked to play an NPC, you can even like maybe do a walk around, the LARP site and just kind of do these little things, interact with little things, just to sort of like flesh out your character a little bit, like in the moment.
Yeah, how does your character behave when they think no one is watching? And how do they behave when everyone is watching? And what are the differences? That's like, if you start getting into the deep aspects of your character, like what are they like alone versus what are they like in public? And I'll keep saying like, what are they like? What are they like? Because a great way to kind of figure out a character, and this, I'm just going to start throwing a bunch of things out there. Stop me if it ever gets too rambly.
Oh no, you say whatever you want.
So, what are they like? If you were to, so you have an idea for your character. I'll ask, what are they like? If I wanted to set them up with my friend is like, hey, your character is super cool. I want to go on a date with your character. What are they like? How would you describe them? So are they passionate? Are they funny? Are they mischievous? Are they caring? Are they angry all the time? What are they like? And if you can start to put those kinds of phrases onto your character, it's like, oh, well, they're cunning. Okay. Or are they cunning in the sense that they use words? Or are they cunning in the sense that they'll poison anyone? So are they ruthless? And if you keep starting adding these words onto these characters, then you're going to start having this really fun kind of canvas to play with, this fun toy to play with.
Okay. This is so funny because now I just want to go back and like rewrite all my characters thinking about these things. So are there any rules when it comes to giving your characters motivation at all? Like, can you literally just give them any motivation, or is there a way to make their motivations more interesting?
Make it personal. Make it personal. If it's superficial, like I said before, with like, if it's about money, what happens when you get the money? If you're, Mr. Burns wanted his stuffed bear, that's a very personal thing that he wanted because it meant something to them. Usually something that you have a history with, or you have a passion for, or you have a love for. Choose things to love. There's so many things like, there's so many characters out there. When I play D&D, some people, their only thing they do is like, I hate elves, I hate dwarves, etc., like species racism kind of thing. But that's not a character, that's a bit. Make it something personal, like that's a negative kind of motivation. I like positive motivations. What do you love? What do you need? What do you need for your life to be perfect? You know, do you just need love? Do you just need a scroll that will get you certain powers? You know, do you want to just like sit down and have a family in your LARP world? Like that. My friend, when he plays Skyrim, all he does is farm. Yeah, he just farms and he starts fighting off wolves and bandits and is like, get away from my crops. Like, what do they get up for? What's their why for living?
Well, yeah, that I find it interesting that you say that. I mean, I can only, bring this back to my own characters because that's where my most experience is. But like, for example, when I joined LARP, and I had my first game, I guess the motivations that I started going with was, well, I want to protect this town, but I didn't really have a reason why I wanted to protect Holdfast. So, I went back and I wrote my backstory, and it turns out that, my character has a lot to prove, and that's why she cares about protecting the town so much, because it's, her own personal goal to, be this, certain type of fighter. So, yeah, I think that is, something that especially new players can have a hard time with. So it's definitely...
yeah, backstory is the biggest.
Yeah.
Because, well, this is going to get into like some like weird, maybe some artsy-fartsy stuff, but I had an acting teacher who said, do you like who you are? And the class went, no. But then we said yes, because we do. And we said yes. He's like, okay. Do you like this bad thing that happened to you? Do you like that bad thing that happened to you? Did you like it when you got dumped? Did you like it? It was like, oh, of course not. Well, it's kind of like all of these things amount to who you are now. And that's your backstory. So all the pain you've had, all the success you've had, that is your personal backstory. And it makes you who you are at this moment. So when you when you start creating a character, what were you before this moment? Because that is what made you into this person that's right now in front of you. So if I, when I was a kid, I went fishing with my dad all the time. I loved it. I love fishing with my dad. And now that I've grown up, that's a part of me, that the lessons he taught. So I'm really good at tying knots now. So, oh yeah, my dad took me fishing when I was a kid, So like these parts of your backstory influence your skills in game. I assume. I'm not sure what the rules are on that.
Totally.
And your backstory is essentially, here's who I am, and here's why I'm in this place, and here's why I'm the way I am. And so backstory is so important when you're creating a character, because it makes them 3-dimensional instead of 2-dimensional.
Any writing tips when it comes to backstory? Even like any just like how to write tips in terms of like getting your ideas across to like a DM, for example, or, your game master at game?
I'm not sure about game master. If you're trying to do it for yourself, you're trying to like write out your character on paper. Like, I love taking notes on my characters. I have stacks and stacks of notes on my characters. Like, oh, they do this, they do that. And when I write characters for plays and I'm writing a book now, and character development is a huge part of it. I have these thought webs. If you ever thought you'd use thought webs in real life, I use them all the time when I write. I just branch off, and I figure out who the character is that way first. So for backstory, thought webs, just put any idea and every idea down and pick and choose the ones you like.
You mentioned in the last question, taking the good and bad that happens to you and sort of wrapping that into your character. As you, further develop your character in a LARP, the good and bad is going to happen. Any thoughts there on continually developing a character through the good and the bad of, a role play scenario or even an improv scenario?
Yeah, you don't have to win. We're playing pretend, literally. And I'm not even talking about just LARP. In LARP, we're playing pretend, but in theater, we play pretend. It's like people get awards and millions of dollars for playing pretend. It's great. But we are playing pretend. And if you always try to win, like, oh, you have to win every situation, let your character lose and see what that does to them. Did your character lose in an important discussion in the town? did the town want to go one way and you want to go the other, and you lost that argument. Great. Now how do you deal with it? 4 of your sheep just got shot by marauders. How do you deal with it? Let yourself lose and let yourself fail. That's when you'll find the most fun in your character, is when you let them fail and overcome that failure. Or let it take over them completely. That's super fun too.
They just become the bad guy?
Oh, man. Or still the good guy, but in a really weird way. Like the Punisher.
Is that a wrestling person?
Oh, that's from comic books.
What?
The Punisher? Marvel?
Oh, I don't know it.
There's a Netflix show. You can also think about the old show Uh-Oh, where the Punisher dumped slime on kids on YTV.
Oh, I loved that show.
With a wink yahoo. So maybe that's the Punisher too. You choose which one means the most to you.
Yeah. Whatever Punisher is in your heart, go with that one.
Yeah, because the Punisher's in everyone's heart. But I won't say which one.
In one form or another. So, Mike, do you have any advice on playing your character? We've talked a lot about, like, writing your character and making interesting characters. So, do you have any advice when it actually comes down to physically playing your character?
Yeah, so your character is portrayed in 3 ways. How you move, how you speak, and what other people say about you. That's how your character kind of gets out into the universe. So choosing a voice, how your character talks. Do they talk with very fancy language? Do they talk with very, what we call low register, or like kind of street slang? Anything in between? How do they move? Do they move fast, slow, like heavy, light, direct, indirect, kind of the stuff we were talking about earlier. And what people say about you. So what you do, what actions you choose to do. If you're the character that would save a dog or kick a dog, that's going to influence how other characters talk about you. So what you do, what you say, how you do it, how you say it, and the choices you make will influence your character. So the choices, do you like it or not like it? That's a great way to react. Does my character like this or not like this? And then you use your voice and you use your body and you make choices, and that's how essentially you act.
Cool. I'm like copying this down. I'm like life advice 101. Things I can apply to real life.
I do apply my real life to improv, and it has been so beneficial. I say yes to my friends' ideas, and I have so many weird, cool, fun, horrible stories. When I talk to people, I'm try as hard as I can to be aware of how I talk. I treat people like geniuses, and oftentimes their ideas are fantastic. Like, even if it's just like, hey, let's go to the store, or let's have a weird night in the woods. This is Mike and Erica talking. This is not. This is. I realize what I said.
Where are my friends that are asking me to have weird nights in the woods? Because I'm down.
Oh, you need better friends. If your friends don't get up to weird shit in the woods,
what are they doing?
When we were at Improv U, we did a thing called Improv Fight Club.
Adam was telling me about this.
That bastard is not supposed to tell anyone. So when I used to be one of the instructors at Improv U, we went out into the woods, and Connor Lowe had his shirt off and was smoking a cigarette. This is with high school students. And they're like, these are high school students that have like just graduated, kind of thing. And they brought him out into the woods, and we did a thing called Improv Fight Club, where we all sat around in like hoods and flashlights, and like brought them on a hike into the woods.
Oh my gosh.
And then just went, the first rule of Improv Fight Club is you don't talk about Improv Fight Club. The second rule, and we made it so mysterious and eerie. We were playing Killing in the Name of on someone's phone, just blasting it. and it was super culty. We had the campus, because we stay on a university campus, we had the campus fucking security show up and be like, we had some weird reports of something happening in the woods. And we're like, oh, we're the theater camp.
Oh, we're the theater kids, so it's going to be like that all week.
Sorry, I know you see this grown man with his shirt off smoking a cigarette in front of children. I know this is what you see, but you need context of what. Here's what improv is.
Just try saying that on the stand in a court of law.
Yeah, but we're also in Quebec, so it'll be all in French.
You need
and like
context.
Very broken French.
Oh, the people in Quebec are just like, no, that makes total sense. You're fine.
But just trying to explain the context of what you're doing without knowing the language of which you're trying to explain it to. Oh, geez, how do you say weird shit in the woods? Oh, fuck.
So we keep talking about improv, and it occurs to me that maybe not everybody knows what improv is. So could you just give everyone like a little background description on what improv is?
Yeah, improv is just making stuff up on the spot. Improv could be something like rap music, like freestyle rap. It could be jazz. It could be, MacGyver, putting together devices. It's just creating something in the moment without prior planning. So that as a theater form, we like the group I play with, we do, hour-long plays from beginning to end, without anything except for a prompt from the audience. So the audience will shout out the title of our show, and we'll do a one-act play on it. Just kind of making it up as we go. We're professional liars.
Wow. That's intense. You guys do like whole 1 hour sets. That's crazy.
Yeah, we did one 5-hour show before, and it was literally hell on earth.
So, I mean, I guess you do have a lot of experience in this kind of like long form improving. Do you have any advice for players on, staying in character for long periods of time? Because, we can go for 3 or 4 days in our LARP at a time. So do you have any advice there?
Yeah, have little tics. Have little idiosyncrasies that your character has. We all have them. Like for me as a person, as Mike Hammond, I always like rub my index finger and thumb together for whatever reason, or middle finger and thumb, and I'll like have my hands by my side and I'll just be rubbing my fingers. It's a little thing that I do. I just don't know why I do it. It's a thing that I do. But when I play a character, I also add those same kind of tics. So they could be vocal, they could be physical. That's when I was starting off with like a character with your voice, when you use a noise to start your character off, that little that I did with my fingers, that's a little tick now.
Right.
So when I make my character and I start to lose it and I start to talk more like Mike, I can go and then get my character back real easy. It's just a little vocal thing to remind yourself. If you're doing an accent, accents are the hardest thing in the world. Don't do them unless you're good at them. Yeah. It's so painful to hear a bad accent.
I feel
Especially because both of us, and maybe one of the few people who listen, Jake, who's a British man, I'm sure hears a lot of British accents that are just abhorrent.
Absolutely terrible.
Just garbage nightmare dumpster fires. I'm an elf, my lord.
So just to recap, what you're saying is, like, if you give
that was a bit of a tangent, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh, no, not at all. I just want to make sure I understand. So what you're saying is you can give your character, like, a little movement or a little, vocal thing that they do to kind of bring yourself back into character, like remind your brain of like what you're doing, basically, I guess.
Yeah, it could be a little physical thing, like you may just like kind of tick your head a little bit if you're a fidgety character, or it could be that like, because my vocal tick, I'll tend to say the first word in a sentence twice, like, and then I'll go on with my sentence, and that's just something that I just do in my own speech. Everyone's gonna be very self-conscious after this.
Oh, for
everyone's
sure.
gonna be
I'm
listening
thinking
to
about
themselves
it,
and looking at themselves.
oh,
Because
God.
we're real people and we do real things with our bodies that we don't even know that we're doing. And you have like the great characters, and like a great way to keep in character is to keep those things in mind.
I see. And I guess character creation really is like a full body thing and not necessarily just a mental thing, or it's not just a backstory. Like when you're playing a character, it really is like something you have to get into with your full physical body.
Yeah, if you want to have the most fun doing it, yeah, be physical with it. And that doesn't even mean, if you're playing an old character that you have to hunch and actually hurt your back. But it could be that you move a little bit slower. You move with a little more caution in your step. If you're playing someone young, it doesn't mean that you walk on your knees, but it might mean you look up more when you walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, these are all really good tips. Getting back to the improv stuff, what are some rules of improv that you could apply when LARPing? Like, is there anything you can remind yourself of, or anything that, makes for a better improviser?
It's not your story. It's our story. And what that means is it doesn't always have to go your way. Stop making it my idea and your idea, and start treating it like the first idea and the second idea. Whatever idea comes into the group, that's the best idea you could possibly have. If you treat your partners like geniuses, they will be. So if the other players in your game, if they have an idea, support the idea. If your character doesn't want to do that idea, do it as if you don't want to do it. Say yes to people's ideas, and then figure out where it goes from there. Then add your own idea into that first idea. And that way you're going to create something that none of you could create on your own, and it's going to be way more fun and interesting that way. You're going to have way more stories to tell your friends after.
Yeah, that's a good point. Saying yes is that's definitely what I tell people when it comes to game. Like, just go do things because you're not going to be sad for it. Something is bound to happen that is fun.
Well, I'll just do an exercise with you, Erica, if you don't mind.
Okay, for sure.
It's something I do in improv workshops, and I was like, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to say yes to all of the questions.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Excellent. Great start. Can I tell you a story?
Yes.
Is that story about a brave knight?
Yes.
Is that knight strong and fierce and noble?
Sorry, I sneezed. Yes.
Is that knight in love?
Yes.
Is he in love with a princess?
Yes.
Is that princess in a castle?
Yes.
Is that castle guarded by a dragon?
Yes.
Does he take his noble stallion and ride to the castle?
Yes.
Through cunning and wit, does the knight defeat the dragon?
Yes.
Does the princess and the knight fall madly in love?
Yes.
Do they live happily ever after?
Yes.
What a great story you told. We're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to say no to every question. Can I tell you a story?
No. And it ends there!
Yeah. You can move forward with 1,000 yeses. It takes one no to stop everything. So when your other players and if you are listening, you also do improv, or you're interested in improv, your other scene partners and your other players, if they put forward an idea, say yes to the idea and figure out how you can celebrate that idea and make it something special. Even if you think it's a dumb idea as Mike Hammond, the person, as your character, treat it with respect and celebrate it and have fun with it. Try your best to have fun with it, and then add your personality into it, and then everyone's adding their personalities into it, and it's going to become something fun. It's going to become something magical that you can't quite explain. But when you get that good story, when you start saying yes to ideas and celebrating other people's ideas, you're going to have the most fun playing. I can't express how much fun I've had just playing pretend with my friends in a classroom at the university and just going nuts, just saying yes to other people's ideas and figuring out where we land after that.
I could not agree more. That's really good advice.
And also, when you're giving ideas and you're expecting people to celebrate them in the same way, give them the best idea you can. It's like, oh, they're going to say yes to it. Everyone take off their clothes. It'll be weird. You start licking your lips like a psychopath.
Yeah, and then everyone goes home sad.
Yeah, it's like, say yes to my idea.
Yeah, don't be weird about it. Don't be weird about your ideas.
Yeah, that's worst case scenario. Definitely worst case scenario.
Mike, do you have any improv exercises that, a group or someone can benefit from in terms of LARPing?
Talk to your own characters. It's something I learned actually through Masterclass. I love Masterclass. Hashtag not sponsored. Love Masterclass.
I also love Masterclass.
And one of them was talk to your characters. So like right before you go to bed and you're just kind of there, just have a conversation in your head with your character. Ask them questions. Unless you're one of those freaks of nature that don't think in words and you think in pictures, in which case I have no idea what to do for you. I don't know. Walk into the sea. Moral of the story, talk to your characters.
Okay, cool. Well, that's awesome. Mike, thank you so much for joining me today, even though it is a remote setup and it's not quite as fancy as the studio. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to give us some advice.
Oh, I love doing this nerd stuff. Nerd stuff is the best stuff.
Oh, for sure. Before I let you go, I have one more question to ask you.
Yeah.
If you were to join a LARP, what kind of character would you bring in?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. Because I would play, and this is based on a conversation that you and I had a little while ago on if I joined LARP, what would I play? And I think I would just find out if the town already has an established king, and if not, be the prince of that town. Just show up in the town, put a chair in the middle of the field, and just be the king. Not intrude on anything they do, not ask for extra taxes, ask for anything to the game. Just be the king.
But like an actual king, or just this guy saying he's the king?
You know what? Either is really funny. That's a choice in a character that you have to make. Do you want to be the king, or do you want to pretend to be the king? I think I'd also just gain the trust of all the LARPers and then slowly poison them over time.
Oh my gosh.
Just to watch them die.
So you're never joining Epoch. This is what
I can't do that now, but I would also... But also just I was like, I'm hosting a joust. Bring forward the jousting champions trophy, and just set up weird, bizarre royal events that people can play if they want, and if not, nothing. Be no impact on the game, but also just insert chaos.
I honestly think that would be a very fun character to watch develop over the games.
Well, just start holidays. It's oh yes, this is Chicken Pants Day. No one here is wearing their chicken pants. I guess they don't observe it in this part of my father's kingdom. Oh yes. No, you don't have to. No, it's your freedom. You can do as you wish. I'll be wearing my chicken pants though, and I won't be judging anyone who is wearing their chicken pants though.
So just asserts himself, but also not in a way that's truly disruptive to anybody.
Oh no, the town can just happen as normal. But you just kind of set up fun as oh, we're gonna have open mic night. All the jesters come out.
I love that. I love that idea.
We're doing the roast of the prince tonight. Behold, a feast.
Oh man.
Just be a fun king.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the party king.
Party king? But then again, slowly, after trust has been gained over 2 years of playing, slowly poison people. Because you gotta have layers. A super fun thing to play for any character before we go. I know
Yeah.
you're about to excite us off. Have a secret game. Secret games are so fun.
Like what?
What are some examples of some secret games that we've played? We all had a game in a show once where there's three of us who were talking before the show and one person didn't know what was going on. So we, like, every time she would get up to do something, we would all just, like, get on one knee and look up at her and just, like, keep looking at her. And she didn't know why. We just, like, decided, like, we're going to play this game beforehand. Sometimes, like, every time someone does a certain thing, you react a certain way. Or a secret. A secret is just a secret, like, oh, I'm actually this person.
Okay.
Like my character Percy that I play in D&D, he's actually celestial born, but he's convinced he's a human, so all the party thinks he's a human. So he just has a secret.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's definitely, like, both of those things are definitely things you could do in a LARP, especially if it kind of, like, plays into, like, a quirk or a disadvantage that your character has. So maybe every time a fawn sings, you have to roll on the ground 3 times. It's just...
that's like an extreme version of a secret game. Another one could be, like, choosing someone to love and choosing someone to hate. Just choose something that they did and just, like, that's a secret game. It's just like,
ooh, spicy.
Beatrice, she upstaged me in the community bake-off, and I hate her guts for it. Hi, Beatrice, how are you? As soon as she leaves, Beatrice, oh, did you see her stupid muffins? Oh, they look like a baby made them. A literal baby. Oh, Beatrice, you're back. Hi. Yeah. Oh my God, these muffins. What did you do? Oh my God, is that some plain yogurt? That is so innovative.
The character you're playing is just a fake-ass bitch.
But that could be a fun game, or someone that you absolutely love. Like, you and I both have a mutual respect for a certain person. MW, if you're listening, I love you.
We do, we stand.
And we have a secret game that, like, anytime he's around, he's just like, oh yeah, you're the best. When he leaves, oh man, what a great dude. What a super fantastic dude. When he leaves, we all have
to gush about how great he is.
Yeah, and that's just a fun game. This, like, as soon as someone leaves, like, oh my God, they're so nice. Did you know once they saved my dog from a well? And my dog's an asshole. And he still did. He got bit, like, 4 times. And he still did it because he just loves animals. What a great guy.
So I guess just, like, adding things to your character that you don't necessarily have to do, but you do it anyway, just kind of makes your character more 3-dimensional.
You can do literally anything you want when you play pretend. Why would you choose something boring?
True.
Like, one of my favorite things is an improviser named Mike Farty. He's a filmmaker in Toronto. I've done improv with him for, 15 years. One of my best friends. He was watching an improv scene, and the people decided to play a board game. And afterwards, they're asking him for advice, and he's like, why did you choose to play a board game? That's the most boring thing you could do. You could do literally anything, and you chose to play a board game. Like, you're in this fantasy world with elves and magic and all other sorts of ungodly nonsense. Why would you choose to do the boring thing?
That's true. I will say, though, in a LARP, that a character with humble beginnings can still have very interesting stories.
Oh, not necessarily, like, what I say, like, don't choose, like, oh, I'm going to haggle with the shopkeep all game. Like, if you've played D&D, you've played with that person who's like, okay, we enter a town. I find the nearest store, and I try to steal from them and haggle prices. We've all played with that person. It's the least fun person to play D&D with.
Oh my gosh! Yes, we've all played with that person.
What do you want to choose to haggle with the shopkeep? We can go fight a dragon. Oh, I think my computer just died.
Oh no, I still hear you.
Nope. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we can go fight a friggin' dragon.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. Why,
You can go find a ghost. Just find one. Where are you? You're in a desert? I bet there's a ghost there.
Honestly, in Holdfast, you can probably find a ghost in most places.
Yeah. Why do you not want to go see a play with, like, how's your character interact with ghosts? Yeah, you might be the local shopkeep in your village or whatever, but like, why would you, like, I'm gonna spend all day haggling? No, I'm gonna go find a ghost. I can sell stuff in real life and get yelled at in real life. I play D&D because I don't want to be in real life.
I feel like you're coming for me because my character owns a shop, and literally the most joy I find in game is selling things to people.
I hate your guts.
Oh man, it's so fun though.
I'm gonna outlaw stores when I'm king of your village.
Oh, please don't. Just Sharon, Mike ruined my game.
Yeah, any LARPer that was interested in me having me be part of their game has now immediately reconsidered.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, please don't outlaw everything I love.
We did that when we became Pirate Kings. We outlawed milk, which is apparently the best thing that town has ever seen. And they got really mad and left.
I hope they did. Why would you?
It was also a perverse love of milk. It was an uncomfortable love of milk.
Oh my gosh.
Our DM is very silly.
So, Mike, thank you so much for joining us today on Holdfast. Honestly, all the advice was brilliant. We're going to have you back again so we can kind of get into this topic a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And hopefully we will see you at a game maybe sometime this summer.
Hopefully I get to see you at all anytime ever.
Yeah, I know. It's been a minute. Maybe there will be a game where work is still closed, but there's still a game going on. So maybe we can all swing heading to a LARP event.
Oh man, what we should do is we should Zoom LARP. And just like, oh, we found these magical crystals inside of our huts. And then you just FaceTime each other and LARP.
That would actually be lit. I would do that. See, that's the thing. I would do that. That's how much I miss LARPing right now.
Yeah, oh man. I hear you. D&D is what's keeping me alive during this.
Oh my gosh, for sure. All right, so everybody, thank you so much for listening. We will see you guys next time. I will keep you updated on when episodes are happening. Of course, it's a little hard to record. But yeah, I'll keep everybody updated. Mike, thank you again.
Thanks for having me. Goodbye!